Yeah.
How's it going, everyone? This is the Anime Man. Welcome back to another episode of your occasional dose of the weird, strange, and what the fuck things straight from the darkest depths of deepest depths of the ramen lands. Nailed it. So, it's been one whole month since Valentine's Day, aka Free Sex from Your Partner Day, aka Forever Alone and Proud Day, aka a really good fapping day, and everybody's already celebrating a brand new season in their respective countries. But in some countries it seems that one romantic day a year is just not enough, and you bet your ass that Japan is definitely one of those countries because man, they're weird. In the last What the Fuck Japan episode, we discussed how Japan can take some of the most universal holidays like Christmas and somehow manage to put their unique cultural twists and traditions into it. But it seems that Japan is also a country that isn't too shy on creating some holidays that you probably won't see anywhere else in the world. And well, today's video is going to discuss one such holiday that you can only really see in Japan that actually marks its day today, March 14th, simply called White Day. I'm guessing there's probably a good number of you who have heard of White Day before in some way or another, whether that be through your typical romance anime and manga series, or perhaps from the once famous Korean horror game of the same name, which is a great game nonetheless. But the rest of you are probably thinking to yourself, Joey, what the fuck is White Day? Well, to put it super simply, White Day is basically Japan's reverse Valentine's Day. And by reverse, I don't mean that instead of loving each other for one day of the year, they go around killing each other for one day of the year, because that would just be real life battle royale at that point. To understand the reverse portion of reverse Valentine's Day, we first have to look at how Valentine's Day was established and how countries outside of Japan celebrate the day. So it's time for a history lesson! Yay! Because that's the kind of content you seek on my channel, right? Originally, Valentine's Day was established as a day to honor Saint Valentine, who was a Christian martyr in the early AD period. Now, not a lot is left in writing about what Saint Valentine was really like, but during the High Middle Ages, when he was around, the idea of courtly love was a big thing. Literary writings about romances that emphasize chivalry and nobility. The best examples being the many works of William Shakespeare. Since then, for close to 2,000 years, the tradition of sending Valentines or greeting cards became a tradition, until it evolved into what we now know as Valentine's Day. Now, I understand that many different countries in the world put their own unique cultural twists on this day. But from my understanding, in most parts of the world, especially in most Western countries like America, Australia, the UK, etc., we basically celebrate Valentine's Day in a pretty similar fashion. It's that one day where men and women give each other gifts like flowers and chocolates and other confectionery to their crushes, their lovers, their wives, their girlfriends, and they go on really extravagant dates or go on really expensive dinners and stuff like that. Pretty simple. But it seems that Japan took this idea of mutual love that is quite common on Valentine's Day and just threw it out the fucking window. Because in Japan, Valentine's Day is a day for women only. In Japan on Valentine's Day, it is a tradition that women give men that they have romantic affection or love for, things like chocolates and candies and other confectionaries, while the men don't have to do a goddamn thing. In fact, there's this fucked up tradition in a lot of Japanese high schools of this kind of race between the male students of how many chocolates you can receive on Valentine's Day, and it's just a way for all of these high school kids to just boost their fucking egos on how popular they supposedly think they are in the class. This is a concept you might have seen a lot of in anime and manga that focuses its settings in high schools. A lot of series satirize the idea of this stupid chocolate race culture by blowing it up way out of proportion in any fucked up way that anime and manga is capable of doing. It may seem all fun and games in an anime and manga setting, but in reality there is unfortunately quite a concern for things like this. There are actually a lot of bullying issues and superiority complexes that can arise from Valentine's Day over some fucking chocolates. I know, it's fucking dumb, but unfortunately, it's also a fucking dumb reality. And I haven't even started to talk about the different types of chocolates that girls give on Valentine's Day, because Japan just had to make a day like Valentine's Day even more complicated than it already is. There are primarily 3 types of chocolates that girls give out on Valentine's Day in Japan. Honmei choco, giri choco, and tomochoko. Honmei choco means favorite chocolate, and as the name suggests, is given out to someone that the girl genuinely has feelings for or is a partner in their romantic relationship. In other words, it's that one-of-a-kind chocolate that is given out and has the most passion and importance behind. In a high school setting, this is a pretty quick and straightforward way for a girl to confess their feelings to someone they've secretly liked. There have been many romance anime and manga that express the importance of this honmei choco, especially in the world of shoujo manga. The second type of chocolate you may have seen poked at in a lot of anime and manga is the giri choco, meaning obligatory chocolate. These are chocolates that are given out to people that you are obliged to give gifts to in a non-romantic setting. This can be anyone from your male classmates and co-workers, teachers, bosses, basically any male person who is in your life that you don't feel any kind of romantic relationship to, but you are still obliged to give a chocolate to because they're there. Which, if you think about it, seems pretty fucking cruel, don't you think? I'm giving you this chocolate that I bought at some fucking random store and I don't have any feelings towards, not because you're important to me or anything, but because you have just even the slightest platonic significance in my measly life. Like, what a fucking backhanded compliment. This is that one chocolate that you see a lot of tsunderes in anime and manga give to boys and be like, but we all secretly know they want that homemade dick. And the last type of chocolate is a much more recently established and definitely a lot more of a pointless one in my opinion. Tomochoko, meaning friend chocolate, are chocolates that girls give to other girls because they're friends. That's it. I don't know if it's just my way of looking at it, but I feel that, especially in Japan, it's kind of like a daily occurrence that girls share chocolates and confectionery with other girls. So I don't know why they had to make a completely different label on a day like Valentine's Day, which is, you know, usually not a day that girls give chocolates to other girls, but I guess it's more chocolate for everyone. So now that that's out of the way, we can finally start talking about White Day. I mentioned that it's a reverse Valentine's Day because on White Day, it is actually the day that the boys and the guys get to shine and show their cool side. It's basically the day that men give back gifts that they received on Valentine's Day. There aren't exactly the different types of chocolates like in Valentine's Day, but it's also a surefire way for men to answer back to any honmei choco and giri choco that they received a month ago. Now, I've personally never celebrated White Day before because I have kind of a lot of mixed feelings about the holiday. On one end, I think White Day is an absolutely fucking adorable idea for boys to give back to girls. Like, you see those kinds of romantic relationships in a lot of anime and manga, but can you imagine it happening in real life? The honmei choco that you gave to your male crush 1 month ago comes back to you in the form of an equally amazing gift on White Day. And it was that day that the two hearts came together. Yo, Shinkai, where you at? Get on this shit, dog. As a country full of people that has been recently struggling quite a bit with achieving romantic relationships and marriage and childbirth, I think a day like White Day is quite a nice day to kind of, you know, re-spark that love light in a lot of people's hearts, for especially Japanese youths that don't express these kinds of romantic feelings enough. But as much as I say that, I also think that White Day is equally a pointless fucking day as well. In the rest of the world, from my understanding, we celebrate Valentine's Day in a more so gender equal fashion. Men and women received gifts from other men and women in the same equal fashion and manner. I just don't understand Japan's idea of splitting up these genders in the span of a month. Actually, it may have to do with the fact that White Day is an actually recently established man-made holiday that actually has no such historical significance and was started by confectionery industries in Japan in the late 70s. Originally, White Day was called Marshmallow Day in Japan to get people to buy more marshmallows because apparently Japanese people don't eat enough marshmallows. Don't ask me what the cultural significance of that is because upon days of research I found out that there is no fucking reason. Man wanted to sell some marshmallows, so he created a holiday around it. Some will call him a genius, others will be like, why, but since marshmallows aren't that popular in Japan, they decided to change the name of it, but stick to the color theme of marshmallows, hence White Day was born. That's why that even to this day, the most common gift that men give to women on White Day is actually white chocolate. Another thing that I don't quite like about White Day that is more of a smaller cultural etiquette that exists in Japan all around is this idea of sanbai gaishi, or triple return. It's basically the idea that men on White Day have to give 3 times the amount and or worth of gifts that they receive from women on Valentine's Day. Which, if you ask me, is a pretty ass-backwards thing to do. I mean, I understand that they want to keep chivalry alive, but come on. I'm all about that gender equality, yo. If I'm gonna get $10 worth of chocolates from a woman who I'm in a platonic relationship with, then I'm going to give you $10 worth of chocolates and gifts to that platonic relationship woman on White Day. If I want to spend a little bit more on White Day gifts for, say, my crush or my girlfriend or my wife, then yeah, I'll be okay with spending 3 times or even more of that amount. But I'm not a fan of complying with this unspoken triple return rule, especially on these women that I am in platonic relationships with and I don't care as much about as, say, my lover or my wife or my girlfriend or whatever, or because I run the risk of looking like an inconsiderate asshat. Maybe that's why Japanese men don't want to date as much, huh? So to wrap all the arguments and discussion up, in conclusion, I personally am not a huge fan of White Day because it has some weird rules that I think are a little bit ass backwards and is basically not a traditional holiday with any historical significance and was created as a marketing ploy for marshmallow sellers. Nothing more romantic than coming home with that sweet, sweet marshmallow advertising cash, you feel me? Surprisingly though, White Day isn't only celebrated in Japan nowadays. Other Asian countries like South Korea and China also celebrate White Day, but obviously with very different cultural etiquettes and very different unique cultural twists on it, which I'm not going to go into in this video because as you can see, I'm not a cultural expert in those countries. So if there are any Koreans or Chinese watching this video, then feel free to make a video on your own about what South Korean White Day is like or what Chinese White Day is like. And maybe make a video or leave it in the comments below or tweet at me the different cultural differences because I want to get educated as well. Also, let me know in the comments below what you think about White Day in Japan. Do you think it's a holiday that other countries should implement, or do you also think that it's kind of a pointless holiday? Also, if there are any other weird, strange, and what the fuck things about the Japanese people, the culture, the language, anything Japan and ramen land related, then make sure to leave me your suggestions over on my Twitter, or leave them in the comments below if you don't have a Twitter if you can't be fucked to make one. And also, a special thank you to Ian Gardiner, Samuel L. Marksley, Tori Jenkins, Cobblemaniac, The Misfit Joker, Instagatrix, Bogdan Axonenko. I created this for Joey and it's very long, F and X, Crescentia, and everybody else on my Patreon who supports me every single month. If you enjoy what I do and would like to support the show, then the best place to do it is over on my Patreon. I have some awesome rewards for you over there as well that you guys will hopefully enjoy, and it really helps me out every single month. So if you would like to support me on there or find out more details about my Patreon, then make sure to click that first link in the description below, yo. Anyways guys, thanks for watching. As always, like and favorite if you enjoy, subscribe for more anime banner, and I'll see you guys in the next video of whatever I make. Keep watching anime. Johnny!